Alright, what's up y'all? It's Lake2 here. As you can see by the title of today's video, here to tell you everything you need to know about Aegislash and Pokemon Champions. So, this is one of my favorite mons. I absolutely love this guy. He is the most unique mon in the game, if you ask me, of being like a wall, while at the same time dishing out insane damage if you position it correctly. So, he's a bit complicated, all things considered, to be fair. But, as you can see, very, very bulky. High defense, high special defense, and a misleading, very low attack and special attack. And here's why I say misleading. He has two different forms, a shield form and a blade form. As you can see, both of them have 140 on each of the defense and special defense stats, and then also only a 60 HP. However, if you compare that to his attack, it's 50 and 50. If you switch over to blade form, those flip. His defenses become 50 and his offenses become 140. So, you could run him as a split attacker if you want. You could run whatever the heck you want between if you want to focus fully on the special attack, if you want to focus fully on the physical attack. He has moves that work out good for both as well. I think he's best run as a physical attacker though, if you ask me, which means I'd probably typically run him as a special attack down nature and then up on one of the defenses, personally. If you want to run him adamant or something like that too, run like an attack up, special attack down, you can do that as well. But anyway, the point is with Aegislash, the way to use him correctly is all about positioning and timing. You want to really be good with like knowing your speed ranges and stuff like that. What's going to be faster or slower than 60 base speed, essentially, is what you really want to know. Because that's going to be the big difference maker between if you kind of screw yourself over or not. Because before we go into the deep dive with him and his move pool and stuff like that, what I really want to explain is, essentially, you're in shield form off rip. The only way you no longer are in shield form is if you do a damaging attack move. You could click Toxic, you could click, Swords Dance, you could click Protect. In his case, King Shield is actually a better form of Protect that we'll talk about in a second. But anyway, the point is, the only way you leave shield form is if you do an attacking move that like dishes out actual damage. So you will maintain this high defense, high special defense, as long as you don't click anything that actually attacks. You could hit like Swords Dances and stuff like that, for instance, right? Then, when you actually want to dish out your damage and hit something like Iron Head, his steel move, 80 power or something like that, after you've already been Swords Dance boosted up, if you hit after your opponents do, it's almost even more convenient because then you sponge their attacks while you're in shield form, and then if you go after them, you turn into blade form and expose yourself to weakness defensively, but you dish out crazy damage. Then on the next turn, when you're stuck in blade form, you're like ripe for the taking, right? You got terrible defenses, you got really bad, all things considered, HP and defenses together. That means you bait like really good moves into you, and then boom, you can hit the King Shield, which will essentially be Protect, but it moves you back into shield form when doing that. So King Shield is a must-have move on him, 100%. No questions asked, you gotta have it, 100%. So as you guys can see, we have a bit of a yap sesh right here when it comes to Aegislash because he is, at the end of the day, very complicated. We will zoom in on this though, just so y'all can actually see it like really conveniently. So toward the bottom, we're going to talk about good offensive and defensive allies, like what you want to pair with, the move sets that you want to run on them and stuff like that. A lot of this yap right here is pretty much me talking to you guys about what I literally just said. But what I do want to explain though is that he is going to be great in singles. I want to dip into singles a little bit. I'm going to be playing a lot of doubles, but I really want to run singles because it's where you could run guys like Aegislash a little bit more comfortably. For doubles, it can work. It's just not going to be as convenient because they're not forced to attack into you, if you get what I'm saying. Like, your King Shield is even more beneficial because, in case you guys don't know, when you use King Shield, it is Protect, but it's also where if they hit physical moves into you or contact moves, it's going to drop their physical attack one stage. So it's a better Protect, essentially, which is insane because Protect is already really good. But that's why it's like viable in singles because people don't typically hit Protect in singles. But this guy can really stack up a lot of threat on the field, 100%. You have to switch in something that's really good attacking into him. But anyway, I have him a 3-star for doubles. He's like okay, acceptable / decent, but definitely not the same type of threat he is in singles, if you ask me. But where he does provide value for doubles is the fact that he has Wide Guard as a move, which can cover spread moves like, let's say, Heat Wave, Earthquake, stuff like that. It will nullify the damage entirely if they hit a move that hits multiple people on the field. So he does at least provide doubles value in that way as well. But anyway, this is just me kind of yapping about his blade form, shield form. If you wanted to do that in like, reading format, you can do that as well. Shield form being the easiest to maintain and trust. Non-damaging moves will not switch him out of shield form. So as I already mentioned, Swords Dance, Iron Defense, Automize, which is going to up your speed by 2 stages. Iron Defense buffs your defense by 2 stages. And then Swords Dance, obviously, attack by 2 stages. Toxic, Substitute, Wide Guard. All these moves will not make him move out of shield form. It's how you're going to just be a real big tank at the end of the day. Blade Form being the most reliably activated with Shadow Sneak, if you ask me. So we'll talk about this when we get back to his move pool. But essentially, Shadow Sneak obviously is a priority move, and you can more reliably just know that like you don't even have to take attacks in that case. I think in a perfect world, you have Aegislash in there against an opposing psychic type that is going to hit like, resisted attacks into you. Meanwhile, you have Shadow Sneak that will threaten super effective damage into them. If you're playing singles, they're probably just going to switch out on you, to be fair, but that gives you a turn to actually just click Swords Dance and you can get boosted up even more. And then you probably just like live an attack from whatever the heck switched into you because he is very tanky at the end of the day. So maybe even another Swords Dance or maybe even King Shield on the turn that they come in. Maybe they try and hit you with a, Fire Punch or something like that. Then boom, you drop their attack 1 stage. Now you hit Swords Dance again, you're +4. Now your Shadow Sneak might just KO somebody because Aegislash is pretty slow, all things considered. And like I said, in some cases that's a good thing because his Iron Head could maybe hit slow, so you still sponge the attack while you're in your shield form and then dish out the damage after they've already hit you. But in some cases too, the kind of fastball, aka like, if you get what I'm saying, with Shadow Sneak can really mix things up quite a bit because while it is a pretty low power move of only 40 power, if your Swords Danced up like crazy, it can just start sweeping the whole team as long as they don't resist it. So Ghost and Steel actually work out pretty good type synergy. That's like Goldengo's type, obviously, and it actually has great synergy with someone like Hydreigon as well. We'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, the preferred moveset that I would run 100% would be Iron Head, Shadow Sneak, Swords Dance, King Shield if you want to run him physically. We'll get on Champions actually and like show you the special attack moveset as well that you could potentially run on him. Let's just say item-wise, Leftovers 100% is a good idea because with how much you're going to be protecting with the King Shield, I think that's very convenient to run lefties on him. Another like kind of wacky, cool, different thing to do on doubles that you could do is run him with a weakness policy. They don't have this in Champions yet, to be fair though, I don't think. But if they ever do end up adding this, a cool little concept would be to run Gardevoir as your teammate because it has a really weak Shadow Sneak, like a terrible amount of damage going into your own teammate, but it is super effective into you at the end of the day. So essentially, you'd be able to raise your attack and special attack 2 stages, which, paired with whatever the heck moveset you want to run, it's like you just got another Swords Dance. And if you already click Swords Dance on the turn, you're +4 in 1 turn, just like that, for taking a very weak, Shadow Sneak from your teammate. But anyway, as far as the allies go, 100% Hydreigon is the absolute perfect mon to either pair with him on the field together with or to have him in the back to switch into, especially if you're playing singles as well. Hydreigon is perfect switch synergy. So let's head over to the old Maryland team builder right here. This is a great site to go ahead and see the defensive synergy that you have with Pokemon. So essentially what I want to show you with Aegislash, right, like you're going to see obviously the red means that it's good into you, aka you don't like that, and green means it's bad into you, aka you do like that, simply put, right? So Hydreigon already resists obviously all the elemental stuff really well, like fire, water, electric, grass. Definitely not ice, but you get what I'm saying. It resists those moves good. But let's talk about the synergy-wise things, like things that they actually like line up with each other well. So Hydreigon is extremely vulnerable to fairy moves. Meanwhile, Aegislash resists that and deals out super effective damage with his Iron Head into that. Aegislash, weak to dark type moves. Hydreigon resists them. Aegislash, weak to ghost type moves. Hydreigon resists them. Hydreigon has Levitate, so Aegislash being weak to ground type moves. And I would say ground moves are probably the most intimidating into Aegislash of anything because things like Earthquake don't make physical contact. So you can't just click King Shield and drop their attack on Earthquake because it doesn't make contact with you. So things like that are probably the most intimidating. Like I said, physical fire moves are not as much of a threat because, I mean, there's not that many good ones of them, and anyone that it makes contact, like Flare Blitz and Fire Punch, etc., right? Stuff like that. So anyway, to continue on our list here, Hydreigon, weak to Bug, Aegislash, 4 times resisted. Hydreigon weak to Fighting and Ice. Aegislash either immune to it or resist it. They just synergize perfectly with each other, and once again, Aegislash weak to Fire, Hydreigon resisted. They just have a perfect switch for each other every single moment, and they both can set up too. So if you're playing with them in singles, you could run Nasty Plot on Hydreigon, you could run Swords Dance on Aegislash, boom. Whenever you get a good situation where you switched into something that you completely resist, and now they want to switch out themselves, you have a chance to set up really, really good for whatever the heck they think is going to switch into you effectively. And depending on how much of a boost you just got right there, or if you just want to dish out damage, simply put too, you just put people in a really good spot when these two are going to be on the field together. Easily. So anyway, as you can see on the champions here, I have him with the, nature of careful, where it's going to be special D up and then special attack down. If you wanted to run him as a special attacker, though, I'm here to say, I think it's possible. You just don't really have the same value of the whole Shadow Sneak kind of, slow ball, fastball, if you will, with Iron Head and Shadow Sneak being able to control your speed. However, you do have things like Shadow Ball, which are going to be more damage, simply put. So if you want to just output big damage rather than to have the whole priority aspect of this, you absolutely could do that, because he also gets a really good steal move of Steel Beam or Flash Cannon. Now, Steel Beam is going to be a little bit more of a, for lack of a better word, kamikaze move, where you're going to like cut your HP in half for hitting this, but it is a 140 power move. So that can be very, very powerful at the end of the day. And then Flash Cannon, also still a really good move as well. Gyro Ball could be okay, but I don't think he's that slow to where this is going to be a really, really good move. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just slowly walk through his moveset in case anybody wants to see what his kit is. I would say if you want to run Substitute, you could do that as well. If you want to be your anti-weather guy and like carry something like that, you could. Wide Guard, once again, good for coverage on doubles to stop, moves like, for instance, Heat Wave, once again, and Earthquake, things that he's actually very weak to, for that matter, but it'll just nullify the damage entirely. Sacred Sword is a different move if you want to have a third attacking move and don't run Swords Dance, where it could cover for things that you don't currently super affect, like Dark, for instance, or even normal and steel. So like it definitely counters like good mismatches where like a normal type against Aegislash, neither of them can really hit each other that great, but if you now have a fighting move, you can. Dark type covers for your weakness if you happen to be able to wall somebody well, like that. And then steel, once again, like you can't do good damage to each other, but if you now suddenly have Sacred Sword and you could ignore their stat changes if they got buffed up defensively and stuff as well, pretty good. I would say this is the third best move that you could consider on him, or close combat as well, because apparently he has that. I don't know how long he's had that for, but anyway, he gets Reflect too. That's pretty cool. Poltergeist, if you want like a high physical attack ghost move, they have to be holding an item though, for that matter as well. But anyway, yeah, and then like Shadow Claw is more of a in the middle, like not priority, but also like not inaccurate and doesn't depend on the whole like item being held. So things like that are interesting. Destiny Bond, if you wanted to run him on like a Paris Trap team, and maybe it could just add more like value into the fact that like you could hit this and threaten people with I don't know, just a little gimmick, if you will. But anyway, then Iron Defense, once again, pretty valid as well. So anyway, that is Aegislash's entire bag. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, this is one of my favorites, so I had to do him justice and like really lock in on like making a good video on this one. As far as what we would run for the investments of the like EVs or stat points, if you will, I think absolutely pick a defense that you want to specialize in, aka like if you want to be a special defender, go special D up, and then for every one of these bars that you hit, you're gonna get +1 for each stat, but then if you hit the orange bars, you're getting a +2. So I would at least go to here, if not maybe here as well. And then if you wanted to max out his HP, he's not exactly the most bulky physically, like, with HP. So I think to just simply add like 32 more points to him, because that's what this is doing at the end of the day. As you can see, going from 135 to 167, I think that's a decent play right there. So to be able to do that, as well as just have like, pretty solid specialty, and then maybe whatever you want to do for your physical attacking or special attacking, whichever you pick, or if you just want to fully invest into his defense, you could absolutely do that as well. So up to you, for sure, what you want to do with the nature, EV, stuff like that. This is a very versatile mon in that regard. You could even debatably, if you wanted to, run a speed down nature. And if you want to run him as a split attacker, you could do that as well. So if you want to run something like Steel Beam plus Shadow Sneak, or let's say Shadow Ball plus Iron Head, you know what I mean? You could run him as a split attacker, run him speed down, so that then if you don't even care for something like Shadow Sneak, you actually will just be slower by default against most people, and then you can utilize that kind of synergy with the King Shield slash shield form, blade form that I was talking about earlier, where if you're slower, it'll actually be better in some cases, because then you can absorb the damage with the shield form and then boom, dish it out after they go for your attacks. So anyway, non-negotiable, like I said earlier, is definitely King Shield, but just keep all that in mind. Anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on noties, all that good stuff. like always, try this one to about 300 likes. And if you're even watching this months from now, feel free to drop the like on the video as well. If you made it to the end of the video and you want to show your support that you made it all the way through, put shield or put sword in the comments to show your support that you made it all the way through. Whichever you prefer. So again, shout out to Aegislash. One of my favorites. I can't wait to use him on singles. I will absolutely be doing that. And I might even find a way to integrate him in the doubles as well. But anyway, that's all for the vid. If you want to check out more, I'm going to have a playlist of this probably playing on the screen right now. And definitely feel free to check them out. They're going to be the same thumbnail format. They're going to be the same, title concept. So whenever you see them on your homepage, if you're interested in stuff like this and you want to just learn a little bit, if you're newer to the game, or if you just enjoy kind of hearing my takes on things, feel free to check them out. So anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. And that, take it easy, man. Peace.